Are people fleeing Seattle? We see headlines and articles all the time talking about the current state of Seattle, everything that's going on down here that's making people move out of the area. So I want to jump into this topic today, talk about what's going on in Seattle and what you should know if you live over here or if you're moving over here from another state. Now, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, Seattle has the second largest percentage of number of people that are considering moving away. And you'll see other studies and stats along the same line pointing to the fact that a lot of people in Seattle are considering moving out of the area. Now, let's be careful as well when we talk about this issue, and we're really separating Seattle proper from the entire Seattle metropolitan area. We'll talk more about that as we go through this video and as we go through some of these stats. Now, when we look at the stat of being the second highest percentage when it comes to people thinking about moving out of Seattle, there are really two questions we need to consider. Why are people leaving? And where are they going? First off, let's address the why. Seattle Times recently did a survey of Seattle residents for those that are considering moving out of the area, asking them what their primary reason is for wanting to move. 37% of people said housing costs is the main driver for them. 34% said public safety was their primary concern. And 15% said they want to move due to political reasons. Now, with this study, renters were more likely to move, and their primary reasoning for that was the housing costs. Now, the residential median home price in Seattle right now is about $885,000. For condos, that median home price is about $567,000. So yes, we are certainly higher than the national average. Now keep in mind, these numbers are for Seattle proper. We will dive into the entire metropolitan area here in a little bit, but these numbers are for Seattle proper. And this survey was done with specifically Seattle proper residents. Now, also with this study, the higher income bracket, the people that are more likely to be homeowners, said their primary concern was not the housing costs, it was the public safety issue. A recent New York Post article showed their survey showed 77% of Seattle residents agreed with the claim that Seattle's hands-off policy with illegal drug use in public has been very detrimental to the city itself. For those that don't know, downtown Seattle and Seattle proper really struggle with a lot of issues centered around the homeless crisis. You have a lot of public drug use, which was cited in this study, in this article. You have a lot of homeless encampments. With that comes a lot of trash on the streets. The streets do not get cleaned up in a lot of areas. There is graffiti all over the place. There's a lot of businesses that have vacated the downtown Seattle area and moved elsewhere because they do not feel it is the right place to run their business any longer, and they don't feel safe in their storefronts very often. The city has done a really poor job at keeping these streets clean, enforcing laws, and keeping these offenders off of the streets, instead getting let back out to just become repeat offenders. Now, back to the main question we want to talk about. Is this a Seattle proper issue, a downtown Seattle issue solely, or is it an issue that exists within the entire metropolitan area? So that brings us back to the question of, well, where are people moving? This is going to give us great evidence of, okay, if people are leaving Seattle, if they're leaving King County, which is where Seattle's located, where are they heading? Are they heading just close by, or are they heading completely out of state because they're vacating the entire Seattle metropolitan area? The IRS actually tracks tax migration to give us an idea of where wealth is flowing in and out of. And there's this site called How Money Walks that has this great interactive map where you can zoom into your specific area and see what's going on in that area. You can see the red shaded areas mean a city is losing wealth, and green means it's gaining wealth. So this gives us a good idea of where people may be moving in and out of. As we zoom into the Seattle metropolitan area here, which is really three counties. You have King County right in the middle, which is where Seattle is. Then you have Snohomish County to the north, and you have Pierce County to the south. This is considered Seattle metropolitan. You can see King County is the only county that has actually lost wealth. A big reason for this is the people that have moved out of Seattle. Now, where are they going? We can see here on the graph in the chart next to it that most of the people leaving are actually staying close. they're just going outside of Seattle. According to this graphic, they're going to just to the north to Snohomish County and just to the south to Pierce County. I know a lot of them are also still staying within King County, and instead of staying in Seattle, they might be going a little bit further east in King County over to the Bellevue area. So this shows us that there are a lot of people that are maybe fleeing Seattle, but they are not going very far away. The U.S. Census Bureau put together a very similar statistic to track where people are moving in and out of. You can see the same trend, people moving out of King County, and the vast majority are going to the neighboring counties. They're staying within the Seattle metropolitan area. And then there's some, of course, that are going to other counties in Washington state and some that are going out of state altogether, but the majority are staying within the Seattle metro area. Now let's talk about why this is, because a lot of people get scared about living over in the Seattle area because they see all the headlines of what's going on in downtown Seattle, and maybe it scares them away from the entire area in general. Something that's important to know is when you get outside of Seattle proper, downtown, these issues become less and less of an issue, and in many cities around here in Seattle metro, they are completely non-existent. You're gonna have little other pockets here and there, and maybe some other of the Seattle suburbs where this could be a more of a minor issue, and then some, like I said, where it's completely non-existent. So there's a lot of people that are moving out of this Seattle proper area and are just going to a neighboring city or a little bit further north in Snohomish County, a little bit further south in Pierce County, and taking advantage of an area that, one, could have more affordable house prices for those renters that were more concerned about that aspect, or two, that people feel maybe a little bit safer for them and in just a better environment for them to be in. The Seattle metropolitan area is a very pleasant area as a whole. The downtown Seattle area is not representative of the entire region. In fact, Wallet Hub named Sammamish, which is one of the cities in King County further east, they named Sammamish the best small city in America 2 years in a row recently. And this is not too far from Seattle. It's still within that King County, but you can go from Seattle and just go 10 miles, 20 miles outside, and it feels like you're in a completely different area. There are a lot of reasons why people love living in the Seattle metropolitan area and just being outside of Seattle. We have very high-paying jobs. We have a very mild climate. There's absolutely endless outdoor recreation here in the Pacific Northwest. And of course, we have no state income tax either. So it is a very desirable area for people to be moving up to. It's just we see that a lot of them are trying to shift their focus, maybe not as much in downtown Seattle as some of the other outlying suburbs. So if you're thinking about making a move over here, maybe you need a change of scenery, you're coming from out of state, maybe you were offered a job over here in the Seattle area, just keep this in mind. Don't let all the headlines really change your view on this entire area. Research the area specifically that you think you might be interested in and figure out from there if it's going to be a good fit for you, because of what's happening in downtown Seattle is not representative of the entire Seattle metropolitan area. As always, I am an active real estate agent in this area, so if you are looking to make the move over here, or you already live in Seattle and you're looking to purchase a home, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you. Thanks for watching this one.